Some people consider him one of the best American hockey players of his generation. I tend to agree. What he did in hockey should be respected and acknowledged. He had a major impact on the U.S. system and program. Today we're going to talk about the legend of Gordie Roberts. Now, Gordie Roberts is a American-based defenseman who played 1,097 NHL regular season games from 79 to 94. He is a member of the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame, and he was actually named after all people, after Gordie Howe. So you knew he was going to have a great career. He eventually became Gordie Howe's teammate in Hartford when he joined the WHA, and grew up playing junior hockey in the Southern Ontario Junior Hockey League for the then Detroit Junior Red Wings. Now, his big process towards the WHA and the NHL started as part of the Victoria Cougars program. Now, with the Cougars, he had 64 points in 53 games. He was an independent free agent at the time, and he decided to ply his trade in the WHA for the New England Whalers. Now, with the Whalers in his rookie season, in 77 games, he had 3 goals and 19 assists for 22 points. Now, he was an underage player. He was only 17. At the time, the WHA were allowed to draft 17-year-old players. You couldn't be drafted in the NHL at the time, at that age. So, he eventually had some really strong years with New England. He represented the Whalers in the 77 and 78 WHA All-Star game, and stayed with the New England, which became, of course, Hartford, when the NHL and the WHA merged in 1979. Now, Gordie Roberts was drafted by Montreal in the 77 amateur draft when he became age eligible. He was taken around 3, 54th overall. Now, he put up some really outstanding statistics with New England. His best season was in 78 when his offensive production went up. He had 15 goals and 46 assists for 61 points. Now, the question was, would Montreal take a chance and try to lure him back to Montreal? Again, we talked about this before. Savard, Robinson, Lapointe, Nyrop, Chartrand, Bouchard. It's going to be very hard to make the Montreal Canadiens. So he eventually continued with, like I said, into the new NHL. In his rookie season in NHL, overage rookie, with Hartford in 1980, 8 goals and 28 assists for 36 points. 81 in a shocking trade to a lot of followers of his career. He was traded to the Minnesota North Stars for, of all people, Mike Fiedler. Now, because Roberts was a Detroit product, of course he grew up in Detroit, people were kind of surprised. He thought of any place he was going to be traded to Detroit or some of the central teams. But he remained a North Star and a great contributor for 8 seasons before moving on to Philadelphia in 88, who then traded him to St. Louis after only 11 games. Now, his international participation was tremendous. He played for Team USA in the 84 Canada Cup, as well as the 82 and 87 World Ice Hockey Championships. Now, the legend of Gordie Roberts is this. When Pittsburgh was looking at improving their team, they needed a veteran defenseman. He already got Brian Trottier. Roberts eventually ended up with the Pittsburgh Penguins in 91-92, and he won 2 cups. And again, in that season, he became the first American player to appear in 1,000 NHL games. Now, in his last 2 years in the NHL, he played for Boston. Then he played 2 more seasons in the International Hockey League before finally retiring at age 39 in 96. The last, get this, of Gordie Howe's teammates to be still playing. Now, he did have a cameo game with the Detroit Vipers in 97 at the age of 69, so it's kind of a misnomer, but Roberts did everything, played for everybody. Later on, when he retired, he served as a player coach of the 94-95 International Hockey League Chicago Wolves, as well as being the assistant coach of the Phoenix Coyotes for the 98 and 99 seasons. Now, in recent years, he's worked as a pro scout for the Habs, specializing in Western Canada and the Western U.S. Now, in 2012, he became the head coach for the Elk River High School boys hockey team in Elk River, Minnesota. And for the 2008 season, he was an assistant coach for the Maple Grove Senior High School Crimson boys hockey team. Now, awards and achievements again. Two-time Stanley Cup champion. Played in the 1977 and 78 WHL All-Star Games. Inducted to the United States Hockey Hall of Fame in 1999. Now, here's the argument, ladies and gentlemen. Will Gordie Roberts ever be inducted into the NHL Hockey Hall of Fame? That's a question. Is not for me to tell. But you got to look at this, ladies and gentlemen. 1,400 major NHL and WHA games. Okay? 1,408 games in the WHA in the regular season. 200 games in the playoffs combined. Grand total WHA, 186 points in 311 games, including 144 assists. Playoffs, 20 assists, 4 goals, 46 games. NHL, again, some grand totals, 1,097 games, 420 points. Playoffs, 153 games, 57 points. Now, his 3 World Championships appearances are there. His best, of course, was 82 when he had a really strong team. He had 7 points in 7 games, including 3 goals. So you look at his totals, his 2 Stanley Cups, and then now on the team, one of the last great WHA players to still be playing in the NHL, a full, nearly 20 years, not 20 years, but 16 years after his last year at the WHA. Gordie Roberts was a rugged player. He wasn't scared to take a penalty, wasn't scared to go in the corners. The amount of teams that brought him in were outstanding, but I still look. He was stuck. He was mired in Peoria in the 91 season. St. Louis only played in 3 games. And the 91 season was a career resurgence. And I remember Bob Cole saying, the old man of the sea, Gordie Roberts, he's found his boat to Pittsburgh. And, Boston's teams in the 93-94 were strong as well. Every player he came on with, it was quite strong. And don't forget, he made the Stanley Cup finals with Minnesota. They lost to the Islanders, of course. But the Minnesota teams, which was kind of ironic, because, the first Pittsburgh Cup, they defeated Minnesota in the finals, so that was very schizophrenic for all the fans of Minnesota to see Gordie Roberts, hoisting the Stanley Cup after losing to the Islanders back in the day in the early 80s. Anyway, Gordie Roberts, you go to list of the best players drafted by the Montreal Canadiens, not to play, like of the 1970s, Gordie Roberts is high on that list. And for me, like I said, I think Montreal should have found room for him. I would much rather keep Gordie Roberts than play Chartrand, but like I said, different type of player. But it's kind of bizarre. I don't know of any WHA draft after they became eligible ever played with the Montreal Canadiens. I don't think so, but I'll have to check my files. But listen, thanks for listening, and all the fans of Gordie Roberts, congratulations, because he's a tremendous player. And you can't take away all his great achievements, because when you said Gordie Roberts, that was a hockey player. USA's own, and he helped build hockey in Detroit just like Gordie Howe by saying, I'm from Detroit. Have a good evening. Bye.